Right now I want to do some introductions of David Newburger, Commissioner of the Office on the Disabled for the City of St. Louis. Thanks for being here. And Nicole Hawkins, Regional Director of Preparedness, Red Cross St. Louis region. And you both are involved in something called the All Ready Initiative. Maybe let's start right there. What is the All Ready Initiative?
This started from my thinking about the needs of people with disabilities to be able to protect themselves in the case of an emergency. And we worry that folks with disabilities are going to be the second group that's looked at. I always use the example, if you have a fire in a building and you have 5 stories and you empty everybody out and you evacuate everybody, then you go back and see who's lost. And the guy on the 5th floor in the wheelchair is sitting there. So it's very important that we, people who are disabled and also other people, people who don't speak English and so forth, that we have a plan for ourselves, because the system cannot immediately serve everybody.
The word all implies it's more than just those with disabilities, but also there are, I guess, does this preparedness we talk about, the word disparity comes up on a lot of shows that we do. Is there a disparity in who is prepared or who has the help getting prepared? Yeah, actually one of the reasons we decided to do this, it's not only our 2 agencies, but several others who've come together to do this initiative, is we did a survey of people versus the general population and people who had a disability, and found that the people with a disability were very much underprepared from the general population, who is also underprepared. So that's a big issue for us. So we're really trying to make sure that people understand that they have their own personal responsibility, and what can we do to help them understand that and be able to jump on that and get working on it.
One of the important features of this, when you're talking about people with disabilities, the needs of people with disabilities can differ from the kind of disability they have. You know, a NOAA radio doesn't work well for a blind or for a deaf person, and so if you can have a bed shaker, and when the NOAA radio goes off, the bed is shake, the person wakes up and goes and turns on the television. The NOAA radio works great for a blind person, but if you have a disaster, power lines down, God forbid, an earthquake, the path that the person is used to walking on becomes dangerous, and that person can't see that. So he needs a plan, or she needs a plan, to work with their neighbors in order to figure out what their escape is. So the need for preparedness becomes different from the need for the general population.
Who else would you like to see involved in this preparation?
Right now we're doing a great campaign where we're working with the independent living centers. So Paraquad, Link, some of those people, to train their clients on how to be more prepared. So their staff members working with them, not in a presentation manner, but in a conversational way, and how do you build it into everyday life. So we're really working on a culture shift. So we're reaching out to other organizations that work with people who have a functional or access need, whatever that might be, to kind of engage in this training process so that we can get more and more people prepared.
And, you know, and you're not just talking, I'm guessing, about the high-rises either. I mean, this is something that can be in rural areas as well.
Yeah, I mean, people need, from whatever situation they're in, they need to be able to protect themselves. I wanted to pick up on something that Nicole said, because I'm very proud of the Red Cross in one of the things that they've done. They've worked out a training program with all the different kinds of disabilities. And they can go into an organization like the MS Society or the Missouri Council for the Blind, and they can help the people who work, who provide services to their population, to train them on how they can train people, so that it becomes people helping people. And one of the things that we say in the disability world is nothing about us without us. So we want to make sure that somebody who is blind is doing the training for people who are blind, so that it becomes a much more personal, real thing.
What role do neighbors have? I know if you live in a high-rise, you have an emergency plan that may say something like each floor has a captain who knocks on a certain person's door. Is there a role for neighbors, high-rise or otherwise?
Absolutely. I mean, we ask people, if you're have a disability or not, you should know your neighborhood. One of the biggest factors in a resiliency of a community is social connectedness, and it's how well you know your neighbors, how well you're connected to your community. And that's for anyone, regardless of your abilities or disabilities. So if somebody knows their neighbors and they know there's a storm coming and they can check on them, and I have a basement and you might need help getting down there, helping someone out can save a life. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to just prepare people, we're saving lives.
We mentioned 2006 earlier in the show when the power was out. Were there lessons learned there as pertains to what we're talking about here? When you go several days without electricity for, say, an elevator.
Right. Well, I mean, we have a power issue, of course, because many people with disabilities need power. It's not only for running a wheelchair, but sometimes it's for running a ventilator. And a person is running that off batteries, and if they can't charge them, then they're in trouble. So that they really need a method that they're going to protect themselves. One of the things that I would say is that their emergency preparedness kit ought to have additional batteries so they can go a little bit longer, and maybe somebody can carry the batteries that are used to someplace where there is power and then trade them off. And indeed that happened in Sandy and a lot of other cases.
And to David's point, it's not just somebody with a physical disability. Imagine someone who needs insulin and is diabetic and then their refrigerator isn't working, and how do they keep that cool? So it's just thinking ahead, those little steps that can really make a difference.